If you are a woman who is currently dating a wonderful guy and you want to understand how can I be more feminine in this relationship, then this video is for you. My name is Jamila McMallow, and I am the #1 love and relationship coach for top performing women over 35. And in this video, we're going to be talking about 3 ways to be more feminine in your relationship with a good man. So feminine and masculine, they're just opposites, 2 different energies. And a lot of times with the type of women that I coach and work with and who come into my world, they want a masculine man. And so what do we mean by masculine? Well, a man who's going to make decisions, a man who's going to take the lead, a man who makes us feel safe, a man who wants to provide and protect. And women are like, yeah, that's what I want, that's what I want. Great. However, a lot of times, if you are a woman who was raised by a single woman or who saw your mother mistreated in relationships with men, you may have developed a very negative viewpoint. Number one, could be of men and of your own femininity. It could be viewed as making you vulnerable or weak. In her attempts to protect you, or maybe by you looking at her example and saying, I don't never want to be like that. I never want to allow myself to be mistreated. You develop this armor and you're very guarded. And so you show up kind of with a chip on your shoulder and you're in protection mode. You're in, all of this. And because you've been single and taking care of yourselves and are an independent woman, because most of my clients are over 35, so I'm going to assume you are too. You've been doing it for a long time, taking care of yourself, handling all that business. And in order to do all those things, it requires you to be operating in your masculine energy most of the time. If you work in the corporate world, or even if you're an entrepreneur and have your own business, that's a lot of masculine energy that you have to be in most of the time. And when you had no reason to step out of it, because you're not really in a relationship, but now you are, then you didn't really step out of it. You spent most of your time there. And so it's very comfortable. You feel very, it's just what you know. But when it comes to stepping into this feminine thing and leaning more into that, you're like, okay, well, what is this? I'll tell you what it's not. There is a level of femininity that is associated with our physical appearance. So yes, looking girly, looking pretty, lipstick, lashes, pretty hair, high heels, all those things. Yes, those are very girly and feminine ways, but they are not ways of being. So your beingness is coming from the inside out. Okay, so how can you allow your beingness to be more feminine in your relationship with a good man? So the first way is in your speech. All right, so men value respect, women value feeling loved. We both want to be loved and respected, but we have a different level of importance that we place on each. We really want to feel loved. Men really want to feel respected. They want you to love them, but they want you to respect them more. They want to feel respected, I should say, more. And so what do I mean by that? So when it comes to your speech, are you respectful in how you speak to him? Now, I am by no means telling you that you have to be a mouse, that you are not free to express your opinions, that you have to talk like this. Does anything about me say that I am not loud or that I'm afraid to say my opinion? No, it does not. But my husband is a very masculine man and I'm a very feminine woman. So that's why I'm sharing these tips with you, because it's just innately who I am and what I do. So the first thing you have to keep in mind is it's your speech. And I'll tell you, this is not something that I always embodied. Like my marriage now I'm married to a wonderful man. This will be 10 years. But at a first marriage, I got married very young, and that marriage was very toxic and unhealthy. And I did not embody some of these traits and qualities and characteristics because I really didn't understand. When you get married really young, you just don't know what you don't know. And so the way I was showing up in that relationship wasn't great either. And one of the areas that was a challenge for me was my speech. And if you don't speak to a man in a respectful way, they don't hear what you're saying. They will shut down and take it like you are speaking to them, like you are their mother. And you're not their mother. And you don't want to make them feel the way that their mother felt when they got in trouble, because he's not your son and he's not your dog. So speak in a respectful tone. That's a part of being a feminine woman. If you are struggling with this, then you may not actually respect him, Because even though I had this challenge with my ex, it's because his behavior didn't elicit a natural respect, awe, or admiration from me towards him. But my husband, now, when we were dating, the way that he treated me, the way that he spoke to me, it made me feel so that before I would speak, I would always pause and think, okay, I was conscious of how I responded to him. I was conscious of how I spoke to him. And so that's what I'm talking about. The second way that you can be your more feminine, you allow him the ability to do things for you. So if you've been single for any length of time, or you've been on your own, then you've been doing all the things for yourself. And so you may actually not lean into allowing him to do little things like get the door. And it might not even be conscious. You might just be jumping out of the car too early or getting to the door first. And it's like, you need to slow down. You need to pause. You need to allow him to do those chivalrous, gentlemanly things for you. And if he's not naturally doing it, then you need to say, create the expectation like, yes, chivalry is something that's important to me. It shows me that you really value me and that you want to treat me well. And girl, watch him open up all them doors, okay? Ain't gonna be no thing for him. Go, oh, okay, thank you for letting me know that. If it's just not something that he's done in the past. Sometimes a man isn't doing something not because he's a jerk. He's just not doing it because he wasn't required to do it before. But for you, the woman that he wants to be with, or the woman that he's already with, then yeah, he's like, okay, no problem, girl. I can do that and get all the doors and everything. When you're carrying stuff that's heavy, why are you doing that? Let me tell you, because when a man, a real man, a good man, looks at you as a woman trying to do something physical that he is capable of doing, in his mind, he goes, I'm stronger. Why wouldn't I just help her? I'll pick it up. I'll do it. But when you are like, well, no, I got it, and you trying to prove something, it's like, and he's like, okay, well, I don't know what to do with this. I don't know. Stop doing that. Don't do that. Let him do the chivalrous, gentlemanly things, even though we all know you can do it for yourself. It's not about that. It's about creating space in your life for him and allowing him to be that person for you, okay? And when you lean more into that and you just allow him, he just begins to step up in ways that you didn't even ask for. For example, my husband, it was cold outside, and he opened the door. I got in the car. He had brought the car around, to pick me up at the door. And then when I got in, I sat down and I noticed that my seat warmer was on, the heat was on. He had prepared the place for me. Another time we were driving in the car, and all I did was say out loud, man, it's cold in here. And he reached over and he turned on my seat warmer. He adjusted the temperature on my side because we have the dual. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, okay, all right, he's trying to make sure I'm comfortable. Do you see what I'm saying? Those little things. And I didn't ask him to do it. He just did it. Because he heard, she's got a problem, I'm going to solve it. Because I'm her man and that's what I do. Okay? Now, the third way that you can be more feminine, you don't want to bring that CEO boss energy into your relationship. So you don't want to be controlling. You don't want to be always trying to take the lead. You don't want to be always making the plans, always trying to give a minutia of instructions and directions on every single solitary thing that you want to happen, and it has to happen this exact way. Number one, that's exhausting. And number two, you're not leaving any space or room for him to step up in that masculine way and take the lead and to take charge and to make decisions. And this does not mean that he is being domineering or controlling. No, it means that he is lovingly taking the lead, which is what you wanted him to do. It's like, hey, I'm tired of driving and parking. Please, you take over. I'm good on it. But are you sitting in the passenger seat complaining the whole time? Or if he chooses a restaurant because he's really trying to do something kind for you, do you sit at the restaurant and complain the whole time? Okay, little things like that. When he does try to do things for you, do you simply focus on what you don't like, or are you always just nitpicking? Or do you see the overall picture of what he's really trying to communicate to you through his actions? And do you express appreciation for that? Because positive reinforcement goes a lot further than complaining and nagging and being bossy and a micromanager and all those things. Because you're going to get exhausted because you're trying to be in a lane that's not your lane. You're trying to do something that's not your lane. You're not the masculine man of the relationship. So as long as you keep trying to be that in a relationship with one, you're the one that's going to tire yourself out, because it is not your natural way of being. It's who you've had to become in order to survive and to get by and all these different things, but it's not really who you are, and it's why you're tired. It's why you're desiring, oh, I want this man that I can trust and love, that's going to take over and allow me to just lean into my feminine and soft life, but you won't allow that to happen. Okay? So we want to let go of that bossy and controlling nature, which I know is simply a protection mechanism that has to do with you keeping your guard up. You're just trying to protect yourself. You're trying not to get hurt. You're trying to make sure that everything goes a certain way, and that has to stop. That's not feminine energy at all. Okay? That's not even really masculine energy. That's just crazy energy, and you need to stop. Okay? So let's review. So the first way that you can be more feminine in your relationship with a good man is, number one, make sure that your speech is respectful. And by that I mean how you are expressing yourself, the way that you're saying, that you're focusing on how you're feeling rather than trying to tell him what to do and what he's did wrong, like he's your child or a dog or, you know, whatever, or like he works for you. The second thing is you want to allow him to do things for you. Allow him to do those chivalrous, manly, gentlemanly things for you that you've been doing for yourself for years. Become more conscious, slow down, and give him the space to be able to do that, okay? And third, you want to stop any sort of bossy or controlling behavior that you've been holding on to in an effort to kind of protect yourself. And I know that if you are a CEO at work and maybe you yourself have been a single mom and you've always had to be in charge, it can be a challenge. But the only barrier standing between you allowing yourself to experience the degree of love and care that you're desiring versus what you're kind of this conflict you're experiencing now is by you trusting yourself, number one, that you've chosen wisely, that you've chosen a good man, and number two, trusting yourself that even if the relationship doesn't work out, you're going to be okay. You're not going to die. You're going to be okay. Okay? Having your heart broken, you know, I'm sure you're not guarded for no reason. It's probably happened before and you survived, and you're going to be just fine. Okay? And I'll say this, none of the suggestions in this video are for you if you're currently navigating a toxic or unhealthy relationship. Okay? So I want to thank you so much for watching. Please make sure you like and subscribe and share this video with a friend that you know needs to be watching this. And check the description box below this video for how you can connect with me and join me in my next training if you want to learn more about this topic of how you can begin to lean more into your feminine energy, lean more into your confidence, and enjoy healthier and more fulfilling relationships with men, or really just the one man that's going to become your husband. So I'll see you next time.